Good evening. I hereby conduct Westchester Township Trustee meeting, December 3rd, 2013. Roll call.
Mr. Wong?
Present.
Mrs. Stoker?
Here.
Mr. Lang?
Here.
Please arise. Pledge your allegiance.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. First order of business is citizens' comment. We have one person sign up. It must be a Westchester resident, business owner, or landowner in Westchester Township, and wish to address the Township trustees. You have 2 minutes. Mr. Brian Terrell?
Yes, right here.
Please come forward. State your name and address for the record.
We'll have a microphone over there, Brian.
Sure. My name is Brian Lee Turk. I'm a Westchester Township resident for about 23 years now, and I'm here from Miami University to do a reporting on I'm here to actually cover what the agenda is on the meeting tonight, so I can write a 3-page paper tonight by midnight. So that's why I'm here. I called before, and what happened was they said the meeting was canceled. So instead, I waited till today, the last minute, to come here.
Double space it.
Good luck with your paper.
Is that all you want me to say?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Okay, this is protocol. We have action, no presentation. Action item. I entertain a motion to approve trustee meeting minutes, October 8, 2013.
Also move.
I'll second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Entertain a motion to approve payment of bills.
Also move.
I'll second it.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Mrs. Boyko, requisitions.
Since we're on action items, we want to talk
Yes.
about this here. Or do you want to do it during trustee comments?
It's fine. You want to do it now?
Sure.
Makes sense.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to amend trustee meeting minutes of February 12, 2013.
I'll make the motion. We amend the meeting minutes of February 12, 2013 as presented by the fiscal officer.
Okay, just for discussion purposes, it clarifies the term for a Board of Zoning Appeal appointee.
Do you want to actually read the change into the record?
Maybe you should second it and then for discussion.
Need a second.
Okay, I'll second it.
Okay, you want to go ahead and read the change into the record, Kathy?
Yeah, Mr. Jones has offered that the following note be appended on page 2 of the February 12th, 2013 meeting minutes. During the discussion of a motion made by Mrs. Stoker, seconded by Mr. Lang to appoint Dick Lenz for the unexpired term, March 1, 2013 through February 28th. The fiscal note that the note that the fiscal officer would like to append is, quote, following board approval of these minutes, it was noted by staff that subsequent approval of the aforementioned motion, Mrs. Boyko said the term for the alternate member is a 3-year term. Thereupon, Mrs. Stoker asked to amend her motion to refer to a 3-year term and asked if Mr. Lang would amend his motion. Mr. Lang amended his second. Asked Mr. Lang would amend his second. Mr. Lang amended his second. Mr. Wong asked for discussion. There was none. Motion carried unanimously. This account is supported by the meeting videotape from the 10:40 to 11:10 time frame.
Okay. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Mrs. Boyko, requisition greater than $2,500.
Item 1 is an administration charge, $53,611.50 to Frost Brown Todd. These are legal services for 2 months, through September 30th and through October 31st of this year. Item 2, $4,425 to Sayers Company. This is to renew license and support agreement for NetMotion wireless application. This application provides continued connectivity and security for wireless mobile data computers, which operates our in-field reporting for law enforcement. Item 3, $3,526.28 to CDW Government Incorporated. Renew license and support agreement for RAS key fob system for security authentication. This is for hardware and software agreement renewals to support secure identification system for our public safety mobile devices. Item 4, $2,847.31 to KPAX Discovery LLC. Renew service, support, and maintenance agreement for Mimosa archiving system. In order to maintain compliance with our internal public records policy and retention schedule, we need a document/email management system in order to access these archived emails, and this is what this system does. Item 5, police, $4,308 to Leads Online LLC. Renew subscription for online investigation system, which is critical for police operations and accessing information available to law enforcement.
I will entertain a motion for item 1 through 5.
Also moved.
I'll second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Item D, personnel items.
I have a few items for the board's consideration. 2, very pleased to bring to you recommendations for promotions for existing personnel. 1 is to promote Mrs. Nancy Conlin to the position of secretary, effective December 4th, 2013, at the hourly rate of $13.02, with a 1-year probationary period and contingent upon successful completion of applicable testing and procedures. Mrs. Conlin has worked in the administration division since March of 2012, and with a recent resignation of an administrative assistant, it is Mrs. Audrey Richard's recommendation to promote Mrs. Conlin to the position of secretary. This will allow continuity in the administration operations and also the operations of the township, and I know it is with pleasure that Mrs. Richard recommends this to the board for your consideration.
I will entertain a motion for item 6.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the applicable job description and revise the township's organizational chart to reflect the position change and to promote Nancy Conlin to the position of secretary, effective December 4, 2013, at the hourly rate of $13.02, with a 1-year probationary period and contingent upon successful completion of applicable testing and procedures.
I'll second that.
Discussion? So we have a vacancy now.
There is a vacancy. Will be, should the board render a decision on this. There will be a vacancy in the receptionist position. It is staff's intention to fill that on a part-time basis, kind of a 25-hour work week, and which will afford some savings or reduce costs to the township's operations.
Very good. Roll call?
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Item 7.
It's with pleasure that I recommend and promote your consideration to promote Jim Rigsby to the position of Roads and Maintenance Superintendent, effective December 4th, 2013, at the annual salary of $63,000 with a 1-year probationary period and contingent upon the successful completion of testing and procedures. As the board is aware, the previous Roads and Maintenance Superintendent position has been unfilled since February of this year with the resignation of Mr. Josh Dehart. And Mr. Rigsby has 18 years of experience working for Westchester Township. He was hired as a labor operator and was promoted to foreman in 2007, so he's been in a supervisory role for the last 6 years. And not only in each position he's already represented Westchester Township, he's demonstrated an excellent work ethic and skills required for the positions. I know that during the last several months, Mr. Frank has worked closely with all of the supervisors in the Roads and Maintenance Division, and is pleased to present to the board this recommendation for promotion of Mr. Rigsby.
Okay, I will entertain a motion for item 7.
I'll make the motion to promote Jim Rigsby to the position of Roads and Maintenance Superintendent effective December 4th, 2013, at the annual salary of $63,000 with a 1-year probationary period and contingent upon successful completion of applicable testing and procedures.
I'll second that motion.
Discussion?
You know, this is a great example of someone working hard and working their way up and continually getting promoted. And I applaud Mr. Rigsby for his time here in Westchester.
Yes. Good upward mobility. Is Mr. Rigsby in here?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I will. Okay.
Sure.
We'll take a vote.
Sure.
Hell, we haven't voted
Why
yet.
don't we vote first?
Oh, yeah, you're not in yet.
Yeah, don't take a chance. Don't say anything.
Roll call?
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yeah.
Would you like to say something?
Yeah, I would like to just thank everyone who made this possible, and I want to promise that I will do the best of my ability to do the best for Westchester Township. So, thank you.
Jim,
Thank
can you
you.
introduce us to your family?
Yes, this is my wife Veronica, and this is my son Matthew.
Hi, Veronica. Hi, Matthew.
Wonderful.
good.
Congratulations. And Nancy is here as well. Nancy is here as well. Mrs.
And
Conlon.
Nancy, will you please stand up?
Nancy Conlon.
Superstar.
Nancy got promoted too.
Yep.
Will you introduce, are you with somebody?
No. She's just hanging out here.
Thank you.
Welcome. Item 8.
Item 8, motion to hire 4 on-call snowplow operators on an as-needed basis for the 2013-2014 winter season. Those proposed for hire are Bob Murphy, Donna Minotto, Jerry Hornsby, and Carlton Grant, effective December 4th, 2013, all at the hourly rate of $15. As the board is aware, this position was created, and the board gave us the authority to fill this position on an as-needed basis in December of 2004. And this additional or supplemental staff, I should say, supplemental staff has filled our needs well. In the event that current full-time employees have exceeded the workable hours that are considered safe based on CDL license holders, we are able to call in these on an as-needed basis to fill any void in service without reducing the service to the residents.
I will entertain a motion for item 8. I'm sorry. Yes, item 8.
I make the motion that we hire 4 on-call snowplow operators on an as-needed basis for the 2013-2014 winter season. Excuse me. Bob Murphy, Donna Minotto, Jerry Hornsby, and Carlton Grant, effective December 4, 2013, all at the hourly rate of $15.
I'll second that.
Discussion?
You know, it's good to see Bob Murphy back for years. He ran our roads department. And when he comes back, he brings the institutional knowledge as well as the intellectual capital that only someone with that experience can have. And Jim, this will be motivating to you. You'll never leave. You'll come back and when you're done and retired and help us plow the streets. So he once had your job, so be warned.
Roll call?
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Business items, item 9.
We have several contracts for board's consideration regarding health and medical insurance for township employees, full-time township employees. Bear with me on item number 9. I do want to provide some background information regarding the proposed contract with our proposed healthcare provider of Aetna. Based on a thorough evaluation of regional healthcare providers analyzed by the township's broker, Strategic Employee Benefits Solutions, the recommendation or the proposal is to contract with Aetna for 2 years, for 2 plan years, January 1st, 2014 through December 31st, 2014, and with a rate cap in year 2, January 1, 2015 to December 31st, 2015, not to exceed 15%. And I want to talk a little bit about the process in arriving at this proposed recommendation, and also some of the research and work that SEBS and staff did in order to bring you this proposal. We are proposing to change providers. Currently, our medical insurance is with Anthem. Anthem's renewed quotes before we even went to the market was 44% increase. Understanding that that is not realistically acceptable or economically feasible, we did go to the market, and the major providers did propose fees. United Healthcare, Humana, Medical Mutual were the major ones presenting, and their increase or their proposed rates initially ranged from 56% to about 39%. So again, not being, and none of them quoted on a self-insured policy. So understanding that that still was not economically feasible, we attempted to do some plan design changes and was able then to go back to the market with a range of plan options and also with those increases, Anthem and Aetna. And Aetna came in at the most competitive rate. So we further then discussed with Aetna, focusing our efforts on Aetna. With that, I want to make sure it's clear to import that of the increase, about 4% of the increase in the rates for 2014, about 4% are related to fees assigned by the Affordable Care Act. So just off the top, that we were looking at that type of increase anyway. Continuing in an effort to reduce these costs, staff designed changes to the plan options, increasing out-of-pocket expenses and introducing an HRA, in essence self-funding for certain out-of-pocket expenses, which resulted in an Aetna fee of about 9.25% to, that was with the HRA option. Due to current level of benefits constrained by the collective bargaining agreements, the preferred plan design option required union acceptance, which the township was not able to secure. So we are not able to proceed with option 2, which was the self-insured for certain out-of-pocket, the HRA reimbursement, and have to proceed with the option 3, which maintains current level of benefits for the elective option and then makes plan design changes to the basic and the HSA option. So I was able to receive input back from the unions post my initial presentation to the trustees, and am now presenting to you that more than likely Plan 3 will be the option that would be instituted. You will notice as part of your sample memorandum, I'm still requesting the board's consideration to allow me to make adjustments, although it's unlikely that we would be able to make any plan adjustments to that elective plan. I am seeking the board's approval for option 3 and to grant me the authority to continue to make adjustments without increasing the employer rate with the hope of continued discussions with the union. So there is a sample motion for your consideration at the bottom of your memorandum.
I will entertain the motion for item 9.
I make the motion then to approve a 2-year contract with Aetna and to approve medical insurance option 3, employer and employee contribution rates and terms as attached for plan year January 1, 2014 through December 31st, 2014, and to approve a not to exceed 15% rate increase in plan year 2, January 1, 2015 to December 31st, 2015, and to authorize the township administrator to make adjustments to the plan options and terms, including an HRA, subject to the discharge of existing collective bargaining obligations without increasing the employer's rate, and authorize the township administrator to execute said contract. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Anybody reading along with me?
Do I have a second?
I think you'll have to second it
I
later.
will second. That's right. I will second. Discussion?
Yeah, I would like to disclose, due to one of my businesses in the private sector, I have a financial conflict, and I cannot vote on this.
Okay. Any discussion? Any other discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Abstain.
Item 10.
Motion to approve a 3-year contract with MetLife Dental for January 1st, 2014 through December 31st, 2016, and to authorize the Township Administrator to execute a contract. We are changing providers. We've been with Dental Care Plus for several years, but their rates came in that exceeded this bid by MetLife Dental. Actually, MetLife Dental's initial quote was 10% less than our current rates, and offered a 3-year contract with sustained rates in year 2 and a 9% cap in year 3. The caps do not mean that they're going to reach the 9% increase. It's just that they cannot charge us more than that cap. It does not also preclude the township from bidding in subsequent years, rebidding the dental policy in subsequent years and seeing if we can find an even better rate. But it offers more security to the township, and our ability to does not preclude us from still going out back to the market if we so decide. So there's a sample motion at the bottom of your memorandum for your consideration.
I will entertain a motion for item 10.
I'll make the motion to contract with MetLife Dental for 3 years, January 1, 2014 through December 31st, 2016, with a not-to-exceed 9% rate increase in plan year 3, and to authorize the Township Administrator to execute a contract.
Second. Discussion?
Once again, I have a disclosure, to be a little more specific of the nature of my disclosure. One of the businesses my wife and I own is an employee benefits firm. So we do business with all these insurance companies. So I have a financial conflict and I'll have to abstain again.
So there is no more Dental Plus after?
Correct. We are now being serviced by MetLife Dental, beginning of the year.
Okay. All right. Roll call?
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
And Mr. Lang?
Abstain.
Item 11.
Item 11 is strictly a voluntary plan provided to the township employees. It's voluntary, and so we provide it as a service, but it's between the employee and the principal life insurance company, and all the premiums are paid by the employee. There is no township contribution to this benefit. We are offering proposing a 2-year contract with Principal Life Insurance for voluntary life insurance for January 1st, 2014 through December 31st, 2015, and also asking the board to authorize the administrator to execute a contract.
I will entertain a motion for item 11.
Okay, I'll make the motion to contract with Principal Life Insurance for voluntary life insurance for 2 years for January 2014 through December 31st, 2015, and to authorize the Township Administrator to execute a contract.
I will second. Discussion?
The same conflict I previously disclosed exists here as well.
Roll call?
Did you second it, Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Yes, you did.
Very good, thank you. Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
And Mr. Lang?
Abstain.
Item 12.
Item 12 is similar in terms of it's voluntary. This is a service that's provided to the employees on a voluntary basis. They can subscribe if they wish, and all the premiums are paid directly by the employee. There's no township match or contribution. This is for voluntary vision. We are retaining our business with Anthem on this, and it's to approve a contract with Anthem Voluntary Vision for January 1st, 2014 through December 31st, 2014 for voluntary vision, and to authorize the Township Administrator to execute a contract.
I will entertain a motion for item 12.
I'll make the motion then that we approve a contract with Anthem Voluntary Vision for January 1st, 2014 through December 31st, 2014, and to authorize the Township Administrator to execute the contract.
I'll second. Discussion?
Once again, I have the same conflict as previously disclosed.
Roll call?
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
And Mr. Lang?
Abstain.
Item 13.
Item 13, motion to approve Fourth Amendment to Master Agreement for a 24-month term between Westchester Township Board of Trustees and Interstate Gas Supply Incorporated to supply natural gas and to provide certified natural gas services to a governmental aggregator, and to authorize the Township Administrator to execute amendment. The township's contract with Interstate Gas Supply, who is currently the supplier for the natural gas aggregation program, expires March 31st of 2014. In order to meet statutory requirements of notification to Duke Energy and procedures to opt out, the board needs to authorize this amendment should they want to continue an aggregation program, so they have enough time to do that in the first quarter of next year. In preparation for renewal of natural gas supplier, Mr. Burns, the township's independent consultant for aggregation services, our broker, solicited and competitively bid natural gas suppliers. Multiple suppliers were invited. There were over 10, I believe, and 2 responded. I did share previously the results of the RFP with the board, and IGS's submitted price and agreement terms were most competitive and favorable. And it is the recommendation of Mr. Burns and myself as well to, if you wish to continue a natural gas aggregation program, to contract with IGS. IGS has been the natural gas aggregation supplier and has bidded, won most competitive pricing, and awarded your natural gas aggregation supplier for the last since 2006. And that has been through a competitive bidding process each renewal. They have a proven history of excellent service and performance to the program. As I shared with the board, not only do I monitor the market for the township's use of electric and natural gas supply, but also kind of monitor the market in terms of the township's aggregation prices compared to. And I can provide some more detailed information regarding that. But in general, the natural gas aggregation, although there's no guarantee for savings, the natural gas aggregation price has performed well in the market. So there is a sample motion for your consideration at the bottom of your memorandum should you wish to continue this program.
I will entertain a motion for item 13.
I'll make the motion that we approve Fourth Amendment to Master Agreement for a 24-month term beginning with Duke Energy's April 2014 billing cycle and terminating at the end of Duke Energy's March 2016 billing cycle between Westchester Township Board of Trustees and Interstate Gas Supply Incorporated to supply natural gas and to provide certification and other related administrative services to a governmental aggregator and to authorize the Township Administrator to make non-substantive changes if necessary with law director approval and to execute all necessary documents to effectuate the Fourth Amendment.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion?
Yeah, I would like my colleagues to consider changing this from a 24-month term to a 12-month term. Here's why. If we go with a 12-month term, the rates our citizens pay are lower than they are on the 24-month term. And then I think we can get even more competitive bidding because, as Ms. Boyko stated, our current guy sent it to over 10 people. There are actually 20 he sent it to. Only two responded. As I called people and asked them why they didn't respond, and he said, it's because IGS has this thing wrapped up. They get it every year. We haven't changed since 2006. Unlike our health broker that we voted on tonight, we change regularly to get the best deal for our citizens. And also included in the RFP that went out to suppliers was this statement: do not contact any of the community officials. Any attempt to do so will likely result in your disqualification. So I think there may be a better deal out there. And the bottom line is we have a better rate for 12 months than we do for 24. And we're talking about a commodity. And especially a commodity that, based what's going on in Ohio, supply is only going to increase. With what's going on in fracking over in the east part of Ohio, our supply is only going to increase. So if you have a commodity and demand stays flat, and there's no telling what's going to happen to demand, are we going to have an exceptionally high winter? We don't know. So let's just assume demand stays flat and supply increases, the price is going to go down. Conversely, if demand does increase and supply increases, rates are going to be relatively stable or the same. So I think we can get a better rate. I know we can get a better rate for the citizens of Westchester over the next 12 months based on what was submitted by by the bid process by independent energy consultants if we tie this in for 12 months instead of 24.
Okay, I have a philosophical problem with what you're proposing. Here it is. Basically, we requested bids. We requested bids for aggregation, gas aggregation program to extend over. In our bid proposal, Mrs. Boyko, didn't we state a time period that we
actually
wanted the
stated
proposal for?
12 months, 24, 36, and 48.
Right.
And then
Okay.
for PUCO said it's against the law for us to go beyond 2 years, so they dropped the 38 and 36 and 48 month bid that our broker was asking for.
That's
because
not true.
they can't do
That's
that.
not true.
They can't bid past 2 years according to PUCO.
No, you can bid. You just have to provide the opt-out opportunity, even though your program may last longer than the 2 years. In natural gas, you have to. PUCO requires that you opt out. So if you have a 3-year program, midway through that program, you have to go back to the residents and have them opportunity to opt out again. So it's not a.
So we actually asked for 4.
Okay, so what I'm saying is all these potential bidders were given notice, the same notice, right? Nobody got a different notice than anybody else. They all got the same notice, right? Mrs. Boyko?
Correct.
And we received whatever we received and made some determinations. Staff looked over the results of the bids that we got back in and made certain determinations.
I think staff mostly relied on the broker on this.
Here's my concern, and that is we go through this process, and then you want to jump in and say, oh, you know that bid we did? Never mind that bid. Let's do something different. And I have a philosophical problem with that. I think when you put out a bid and ask for a response to the bid, you should make your decision based on the people who bothered to respond. I don't think you should say, hey, you know what? I bet we could get something better if we bid something different.
Kathy, I don't think you understand the nature of the bid. Right here, we asked for 12-month rates and 24-month rates.
Yep.
We asked for 2 bids.
Yep.
The 12-month rate is lower for our citizens than the 24-month rate. So I'm saying let's lock in the better price for our citizens for the next 12 months. Let's not tie them to a higher rate than we can get for them. So I'm not, we asked for the bid for 12 and 24. We didn't just ask for a 24-month bid.
Right.
So I'm saying we can do better for our citizens based on the numbers that they gave us.
Okay.
We can save them money.
Can I ask why staff and Mr. Burns thought we'd be better off going with somebody bidding for a 20-month term?
Well, I think the purpose of the program, well, I shouldn't say the purpose. One of the benefits potentially of the program is to have a kind of an understanding of how your price is going to be charged based on your usage for an ample period of time. Whether or not that is the intention or whether it's intending to be or wanting to be successful, that's one of the options to do. Trustee Lang is absolutely correct that the bidders did bid on a 12-month and a 24-month pricing. They're all indicative of the NYMEX, and so they're all based on however natural gas is trading. They're all based on some retail or rider of that NYMEX, and so it will fluctuate as the market fluctuates.
And the further out you go, the less certainty
Correct.
in price you have.
Correct.
Which is why a 24-month will tend to float higher than a 12-month.
Right.
Because of the rising uncertainty.
But it really is.
In a
It really
commodity
is the
supply
pleasure
is
of
increasing. Probably not a good idea to make long-term commitments.
when I think that the discussion and the input of the market, there's multiple opinions and there's multiple perspectives on how to gauge the market, how to monitor the market, and to speculate where it's going to be in 12 months, 24 months. Certainly, I don't have that skill or gift. But I think it really is a pleasure of the board, however you'd like to proceed. If it's a 12-month that's preferred, then that's fine. Then,
Well, and there's other options out there that aren't tied to the NYMEX that actually have better long-term rates that we're not even considering because our broker's tying everything purely to the NYMEX. When I asked our broker one time, help me understand your symmetry predictive modeling engine. Are you using episodic risk groupers or diagnostic risk groupers for your prognostication tools? He said, just the NYMEX, that's it. We're tying everything to the NYMEX.
I don't believe that's...
Well, that's what he told me. And then when I asked other people, they said, sign a non-disclosure and we'll share with you the symmetry predictive modeling engines that we use. So there are other plans out there that aren't necessarily NYMEX based that can have a lot of success. So all I'm saying is we can do better for our residents if we tie this in to 12 months instead of 24 months. Over the next 24 months, every single one of our residents over the next 12 months, if we tie this to a 12-month, everyone will do better in the short term than if we tie this over 24 months.
Okay. Again, on commodities, to me, that's even scarier than being in the stock market. I think anybody who's ever gone on MSNBC or any of these other programs that get out, and they'll have all kinds of talking heads telling you, you ought to do this, you ought to do that. And I've come to the conclusion after watching this for about 40 years that none of them have a clue. They all have a big explanation as to why what happened yesterday happened, and they'll make all kind of prognostications about what's going forward. And I'm telling you, the weatherman is more accurate than they tend to be going forward. And I have that same opinion about commodities. I can sympathize with an institution that says we're pretty sure we know what's going to happen in the next 12 months. Not so sure about 24 months. So we need to be a little more careful in our, estimates and quotes. Now, at the same time, I'm sympathetic with the shorter term, maybe see what happens. But again, with commodities, you don't know. Something could happen which would all of a sudden, like say, problems in the Middle East can all of a sudden cause an awful lot of petroleum to get diverted.
Keep in mind, this is natural gas. This is not petroleum. Most of it's manufactured here in the States. You're right.
But my just general as a layperson watching this, energy, like any other, like pork bellies, like corn, like anything else, can fluctuate unpredictably and radically. But I can understand and sympathize with the 12-month time frame. They feel pretty comfortable with a lower rate then. I'm not so sure about the fancy systems for prognostication. Like I say, I've seen too many people predicting all kinds of stuff who clearly didn't know what the heck they were talking about.
Well, I know Trustee Lang had a concern regarding that, and so I've been questioning and pushing and prodding Mr. Burns over the last several years. Every time he's presented this to us, and he's offered what his modeling predictors are, and I don't know the formulas or the treasures that go into his proprietary information, but he talks about the energy supply, the energy demand, the gross domestic product, economic indicators, forecasts, CPI, unemployment, PPI, PMI, the storage, the supply, the demand. So I think he has a science to his art of making some of these assumptions, and I also.
Well, he refused to disclose anything to me when I asked for it.
People don't disclose trade secrets.
I was willing to sign an NDA, Kathy.
People
Matter
don't
of fact,
disclose.
here's what happened. I said I will sign. I said a competitor of yours disclosed to me, and they had me sign an NDA, and his response to me was, "What's an NDA?" So now that's going back probably in 2007, 2008, but that was his response to me. What's an NDA? So I'm just asking consideration to go a 12-month contract instead of a 24-month contract. And we're guaranteed to save our citizens money over the next 12 months if we do that.
You make a good argument, and I think the program overall has done a good job. We have saved, according to our last report, our residents over $2 million in their natural gas prices as compared to the price that Duke Energy gave us to compare our prices to. Electricity, of course, is another story. That's done phenomenally well. I think that's in excess of $9 million or maybe as much as $11 million savings. But I can hear what you're saying. I think maybe going for a 12-month period and then look at what we're doing, I could go along with that. But I still say I've listened to too many of these talking heads talking about how we got to buy gold. No, we got to buy abandoned missile silos and set them up for the coming apocalypse. I mean, there's an awful lot of people that argue very passionately for things that never happened. Yeah. Or,
well, let me withdraw my
I still
motion.
say,
one last point.
What happens if the courts decide that fracking is too dangerous and too damaging to do? All of a sudden, that natural gas surplus just goes poof like that overnight.
There's nothing risk-free.
That's what I'm saying. Commodities, you never know.
Well, and just two last points I wanted to make is one is that all of the providers and suppliers that are in the greater Cincinnati market do pricing based on NYMEX. So I know that they do pricing based on a relative or factor of the NYMEX, And then I think Trustee Lang's proposal makes perfect sense, especially if it's the board's intention to potentially discontinue or rebid the broker services RFP, because the broker, whoever brokers the deal and the length of that deal, receives the commission on that deal. So if you went with a 2-year agreement with IGS brokered by Mark Burns, then he would continue to receive the commission in year 2, even though potentially you would only have him under contract for another year.
Well, the fact is, we don't pay that commission.
No,
It's paid
I
by
know,
the
but I'm
provider.
saying that
Right.
he would maintain the contract for.
But I mean, it's not a loss to the township or
No,
a gain to the
no,
township
no.
either way.
Correct.
Well, I will pull my motion and make another one. I would like to make the motion that we approve the Fourth Amendment to the Master Agreement for a 12-month term beginning with Duke Energy's April 2014 billing cycle and terminating at the end of Duke Energy's March
I apologize.
2015 billing cycle.
Could I just ask, before we go into the motion, ask one more question? Were we endeavoring to cause Mark Burns' contract to coincide with the same IGS contract with this, or does that not have any impact on what we're doing? At one point, we were trying to get them all to align so that if we...
This does align, but at the last meeting, Trustee Lang had proposed, and under discussion, I had talked to the board about noticing Mark Burns to relieve him of just that you intend to terminate his
RFP, maybe
terminate,
Mike would get it again.
terminate
But
his
that
contract.
has nothing to do with this, I don't think.
Okay, I apologize for interrupting. If you want to go
All
forward
right, let me
then
start
with the
over.
motion.
I make the motion to approve the Fourth Amendment to Master Agreement for a 12-month term beginning with Duke Energy's April 2014 billing cycle and terminating at the end of Duke Energy's March 2015 billing cycle between Westchester Township Board of Trustees and Interstate Gas Supply Incorporated to supply natural gas and to provide certification and other related administrative services to a governmental aggregator and to authorize the Township Administrator to make non-substantive changes if necessary with Law Director approval and to execute all necessary documents to effectuate the Fourth Amendment.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion? Well, if any subscriber are not happy, opt out.
Yep.
I agree.
Mr. Jones?
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Item 14.
Motion to appoint 2 trustees, 2 fire department members, and 1 civilian to the 2013 Volunteer Firefighters Dependents Board. I believe this should be 2014, though. 2014 Volunteer Firefighters Dependents Board. In light of a trustee-elect taking term in January, normally I'm bringing to you recommendations to fill committees and boards at the new year. However, there's a statutory requirement that these appointments must be made prior to the end of a calendar year for the upcoming year. So the board needs to make this recommendation either at this meeting or the next meeting. The fire chief for the 2014 Volunteer Firefighters Dependents Board, he does offer a few recommendations in terms of the fire department members and the civilian member. It's part of your memorandum.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to appoint 2 trustees and 2 fire department members and 1 civilian to the 2014 Volunteer Firefighters Dependents Board.
Okay, well, I'm clearly not going to be on it.
Well, let me make the motion that we appoint Lee Wong and George Lang as the 2 trustee members and continue Gene Hendel as the non-trustee member
The 2 fire department members
2 fire.
should be
for
in
the 2014 Volunteer
Tony
Firefighters
Gollan.
Dependent Board.
Yeah, and there's 2 fire department members. It's their middle bullet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah,
Tony Gollan.
and also I make in the same motion that we keep Lieutenant James Cox and Lieutenant Randall Hannafin as the 2 fire department members. Not that we keep, that we appoint.
I will relinquish my thank you to our trustee-elect, Mr. Mark Welch.
Well, we didn't have a second, so let me just redo
Okay.
my motion. I'll make the motion that we appoint Mark Welch and George Lang as the township trustee representatives, and James Cox and Lieutenant Randall Hannafin as the fire department members, and one elector, Mr. Gene Hendel, to the 2014 Volunteer Firefighters Dependents Board.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Yeah, back in the 1970s, we actually had a firefighter that was killed while in the line of duty. And the purpose of this board is to verify that his widow is still single and still alive, and as long as she meets those qualifications, she continues to receive benefits. So that's the purpose of this board. We meet once a quarter. The firemen run it so the meetings never last more than 40 seconds. It's very efficient and done very well.
Well, and how fortunate we are that we only have lost one.
Yeah.
This, I think it was an EMT in 40 years. We're very fortunate.
Right. Roll call?
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Item 15.
Motion not object to a new liquor permit for Kalamata's Greek Grill Incorporated, 7690 Voice of America Center Drive.
I will entertain a motion for item 15.
I'll make the motion that we not object.
I'll second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Item 16.
Motion to approve statutory resolution 21-2013 prohibiting the use of engine brakes on State Route 747 within Westchester Township pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 505.17. Based on the preparation of this resolution and the explanation from Mr. Tim Frank, I've learned more about engine brake and combustion systems on semi-trucks than I probably ever wanted to know. But let me enlighten you all, if I may, for very briefly. An engine brake is a braking system used primarily on semi-trucks or other large vehicles that modifies engine valve operations to use engine compression to actually slow down the vehicle. You probably have heard that kind of guttural. That's what they're doing. This is also known as compression release engine brakes. And the compression release engine brakes may make a loud chattering noise or a machine gun-like guttural, as I mentioned, which could be very aggravating if you live in close proximity and try to rest and reside in close proximity to some of our major commercial corridors, State Route 747 being one, which really connects Interstate 75 to 129 to then going down 747. You can actually access Interstate 275, and so you have this system of interstate roadways that makes it very convenient and very accessible to this type of vehicle, semi-trucks. And so we've received several complaints from residents living in proximity to or along State Route 747, and we feel like this is a benign response and resolution to some of their concerns. I think it's also important to note that previously no engine brake signs were installed and erected on State Route 747 within the township's border prior to the Butler County Engineer's Office, ODOT and the Butler County TID improving certain sections of the roadway applicable to their jurisdiction. And so it's unknown why these signs were never reinstalled by the ODOT. So with the complaints, it allowed us to do this reinvestigation and are recommending the board's consideration to approve the statutory resolution in order to erect these signs on State Route 747 within the township's border, and obviously with ODOT acceptance and approval.
Just one clarification. We are not determining that these trucks cannot brake at all. We're just saying they can't use engine compression braking, correct?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh, yes.
I was sure that was what you meant, but you didn't say it. So
they can't use
just
that.
wanted to clarify.
They can't use that practice or system.
It must save the other system of brakes or something. Who knows? But it is noisy.
All right. I will entertain a motion for item 16.
Also move.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Yeah, Judy, what exactly will the sign say?
No engine brake.
no engine brake,
Oh.
and,
And I apologize, it might have the ORC section.
okay. Now, forgive my ignorance, I'm not a long-haul trucker, not even a short-haul trucker. Aren't those brakes used primarily in emergencies?
The resolution does equip for that, to account for that, and only in emergency circumstances would it be exempted.
Yeah, and my next question is, the problem that takes place today, do truckers regularly use them when it's not an emergency?
Yes, they do.
They do? I noticed there's no punishment at all. We're just
Nope.
going to post the signs?
No, that's not correct.
No,
There is a
ORC has
yeah.
a
They would be considered
fine.
to be a. It's under the
I didn't read it in our resolution.
Section 3. Determine a person violating the provision of this resolution shall have committed a traffic violation, and a penalty shall be imposed as provided for in the ORC. It's a traffic violation, so similar to a speeding ticket or running a red light.
Perfect. If I can ask of the two trustees, can we table this until next week? I'd just like to do a little homework on it.
I don't have a problem.
I just want to make sure that the board is aware that you make it with the understanding that there was several complaints. A very vocal resident has been very concerned about this, and in order to do our research, we wanted to be very diligent and very thorough. And I think that there really is no detriment. It obviously has to be witnessed by the police department in order to write a ticket. But it does provide some of the ease of mind for these
Well,
residents.
my first part of research will be getting with you and getting a better understanding. Thanks, you. Thanks, Lee. Thanks, Gabby.
How do you enforce something like that?
Yeah, the witness have to
Police
witness.
officer
Police
has
have
to
to
be
witness it.
And the police have to witness it. It can't be somebody calling in and complaining.
Correct.
Okay. move on.
No anonymous calls.
Okay, move on to item 17.
Item 17. Yes, for board's consideration, emergency resolution number 22-2013, amending the Township's 2013 permanent appropriations and declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading. As the board is aware, from time to time you will amend permanent appropriations. They're presented periodically throughout the year for the board's approval. We present to you a final amendment to the appropriations, generally at this time at the end of the year, because revenues are forecasted and expenditures are more accurately estimated, and so we can bring to you a closeout, a more specific closeout for the year that's reflected throughout the year. Preceding resolutions throughout the 2013 budget cycle were presented and approved. The tax budget, the temporary appropriations, the permanent appropriations, and then, as I said, at times amendments to the appropriations. There were several account codes that were adjusted for your review, and it was attached to the resolution. And I would be more than happy to go over those in any detail if the board requests. However, requesting the board's consideration to approve emergency resolution 22-2013, amending the Township 2013 appropriations and declaring an emergency and dispensing with the second reading.
Okay, I will entertain a motion to declare resolution number 22-2013 an emergency.
Do we do the citizens' comments?
Yeah, we do that at the vote part.
You want to-
Any
Trustee
questions
Wong.
or clarifications?
Citizens' comment, next one.
Mark Hevercost, 7356 Weathersfield Drive, Westchester. In my 9 years as a resident, I've probably addressed this subject about 20 times, so I'll make it 21. $53,000 plus on legal fees for 2 months. Assuming our litigators don't work on Saturday and Sunday, that's about 43 days worth of work. That's $1,200 a day. I would just hope that the new year would bring cooler heads and more responsible spending of our precious assets, and that number could be greatly reduced. To address something that Catherine said regarding the bidding process, I've been a contractor for 38 years, and I can tell you that 75% of the bid invitations that come across my desk I throw in the trash can, because it's well known in the industry who the players are, who the suppliers are, and more importantly, how the RFPs are written, that it's well understood who's wanted for the job, and that oftentimes it's a waste of our time to even provide a bid. And I would assume that these other 18 people that decided not to bid knew that through what was written in the RFP on why they didn't bother. It would have been a waste of their time. I was hoping you would have voted on the engine brake. I didn't know that was on the agenda for tonight. I'm the president of the Providence Manor Homeowners Association. We have 265 homes. My home happens to be 2 streets over directly from the hill on 747. And I can tell you, George, at least once a night, my bedroom windows will rattle from the engine brakes. And I will tell you that there is one of those signs, but it's posted in Liberty Township as soon as the truck comes off the expressway. And it's easily missed, but the place where the engine brakes are used is as soon as they hit the long hill. They don't want to use their brakes up because a lot of the trucks are owner-operated, and it saves on their brakes. That's the sole purpose for using them on a non-emergencies is to save their own equipment. So they use the engine brakes, and that noise carries all through our subdivision. And we have addressed it as a complaint through the Butler County Engineer's Office and have gotten nowhere. So when Judy mentioned that there were some complaints, we have done that numerous times as the HOA with the Engineer's Office, and that's gone nowhere. So if it ends up on your desk, so be it, and please make it happen.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, let's move on to second reading and vote on pending resolution. For emergency resolution. I will entertain a motion to declare resolution number 22, 2013 an emergency and dispense with the second reading.
Also move.
I'll second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
I will entertain a motion to approve resolution number 22-2013 as read and as already declared an emergency.
Also move.
I'll second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.
Mrs. Vogel, discussion items and trustee comments.
I don't have any listed, but at the board's pleasure, I'd like to share just an update from the previous last trustee meeting. May I?
Yes.
At the last trustee meeting, a resident complained about PDF documents, specifically the trustee meeting minutes on the website and the
Was that the search?
Yes.
Okay.
And the inability to search the PDF documents. And I just wanted to report that the documents are currently searchable based on the practice that the township loads them. However, they are not as user-friendly searchable as I believe some of the expectation is. So I wanted to report that this is the last meeting was one of only a few complaints that I heard frustrated with that process. And candidly, we did not recognize it as a serious complaint, and I'm being completely candid and honest because we didn't recognize it as a serious complaint seeking specific resolution because, as I said candidly, it was only and first expressed during the election process and was really geared toward complaints about trustee re-election issues as opposed to operational deficiencies in township operations. But in the interest of continuous improvement and always seeking that continuous improvement, we have designed a process that was effective with the last minutes that were just loaded, September 24th meeting minutes, where they are searchable, that I believe is consistent with the expectation of that one resident and then one or two other complaints during that time period. And so we will we will do September 24th moving forward. They will be in what I am considering to be the expected searchable format, and we will make every endeavor to, as time permits, to go back in time and load the minutes differently in that. But I can't make any promises because it would only be based on staff availability and staff time to be able to do that. But we will endeavor to try to do that. So just wanted to make sure that was shared.
Excellent. Do you have any comments?
Yeah, I would just like to address something Mr. Haberkoff said. By the way, thanks for the input about the engine braking, Mark. I didn't realize that. And it was regarding our legal fees. I think $53,000 is not an average month. It's more of a higher month. But let's pretend it's average. That comes out...
That's 2 months.
Oh, that's for 2 months. Oh. So if we divide that by 2, it would come out to roughly $300,000 annually that we spend in legal fees. And on $55 million in total expenditures, that's about 0.5% of the total budget. I think we're much better than any municipality our size, and I know we do better than any of the companies that I own when it comes to percent of legal bills and percent of revenue. So I think we actually do better than corporate America does in that regard. And I actually think our lawyers save us a whole lot of money. Matter of fact, one of our lawyers who's with us tonight, Don Crane, in last month's edition of Cincinnati Business Magazine, was named as one of the best lawyers in Southwest Ohio. And the neat thing about this is a peer-reviewed, rated, and recognized organization that puts this together. So this is not Don or Don's firm that's blowing Don's horn. This is his peers throughout the greater Cincinnati area saying, hey, we recognize Don to be one of the best attorneys in the Cincinnati area, and his area of specialty just so happens to be labor law and management. And I believe over the years, Don has saved us way more than the hundreds of thousands that we spend on legal fees on an annual basis.
Yeah, on legal fees, I'm sure if we checked the CAFRs, we'd find that we were spending maybe half to 70% as much as, say, Fairfield or Hamilton
On a proportional
or
basis.
Middletown.
Yeah, you compare.
Any way you want to look at it, I think you'll find that we spend less. And it's a lot cheaper than having our own attorneys in-house because
Agreed.
we have the advantage of the large range of expertise that Frost Brown Todd encompasses within their whole organization.
Okay. We have one more meeting for this year, correct?
Yep.
Okay. We have an executive session. I will entertain a motion to adjourn the regular meeting and go into executive session with legal counsel for the purpose of considering and discussing 1, personnel matters, A, discuss contract negotiation for a certain collective bargaining unit, B, review provision of benefits for a non-contract employee. The board will not return. I'll entertain a motion to
Also moved.
I'll second.
discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Wong?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoker?
Yes.
Mr. Lang?
Yes.